Well, good morning, guys. Here we have another day and another project. Um, I want to give out a shout out to Tom's Place. That's his place right here. It's a restaurant up in the Sierras, and every time we go fishing, we hit a few lakes going up the 395, and we always pass and we see this big um, official highway sign with the green, the green sign. And it says Tom's Place, and there's an arrow pointing up the hill. And you look up and you can see it. It's about a quarter mile from the road. And I said, you know what? Let's check it out. So one day we actually did go in there, and it turned out to be the 100th anniversary of that restaurant. And I bought a cap and I bought a mug and everything. And I had the prime rib, and it was the best prime rib I ever had in my life. And I've always I and it turns out that they don't have that regularly on the menu. It's something that they did for the 100th anniversary. And I said, man, why are you going to do this only once every 100 years? I mean, I will go out there when I go fishing now every year to go have the prime rib, because it was the best prime rib I had in my life. And every time I go to a restaurant that I want to check out their meat quality, I always ask for the prime rib. Some places are good, some places are lousy. Uh, I went to a place in Arizona that's supposed to have this reputation, and when I tried the prime rib, it was 50% fat. I called the manager and I said, "Hey, look at this. I mean, a big blob of fat all the way around it, and I cut it, and so it was 50%. Didn't like it, and the guy, he didn't offer to change it or give me something else. He says, "Oh, that we have a guy that buys our meat, and he buys the best quality." And I said, "You look at this meat and you tell him this is high quality? I'm sorry." I wasn't happy with the place. I'm not going to mention it because I don't even remember the name, but I'm not going there anymore. I can tell you that. But Tom's Place, I'm going, and I'm gonna beg, please give me give me a prime rib. All right, enough of that. So I went and got a can of paint, and yesterday, uh, and I painted my Quadrajet carburetor that I just got um, from Jets down in Huntington Beach. Now, the carburetor looked pretty crappy. I looked at it, and it was backfiring, and it was, I said, this thing's gonna blow on me. And I started looking at the plates and everything; they were corrosive, and I'm going, what kind of marine carburetor falls apart after 2 years? And this is supposed to be a new carburetor, right? So I called them up, and I took it there. I took it there, and I kind of went in with a bad attitude, and I told the guy, listen, the owner wasn't there. I told the guy that was working that he was only a new guy. He's been there for 2 3 months, and I said, look, man, this is junk. It's backfiring. It won't start right. All kinds of things. And I noticed that the screws were all aluminum. I started taking the screws out. They're aluminum. I call. So I the next day I left it there. So and then the next day I got a call from the owner, and he says, well, what do you want me to do? And I said, well, look, I explained the thing with the screws. And he goes, okay, I'll replace everything. I'll clean it out. He called me back. He says there was some junk in the fuel, so I got to check the fuel. So he did the whole thing, and I was going to install. And then he called me back again the next day. Okay, it's all ready, but do you want me to paint it? And I said no. Thinking that they were going to put in the acid and they were going to take everything out because it had black. I don't know why. Um, it was all scaly and flaking and stuff. I thought they were gonna put it in the acid. I wanted just metal color. So when I got it back with the black. It wasn't flaking, but it was just spotty here, some there, in black paint. And I said, well, it looks like crap, even though it's redone. So I painted it. I gave it some primer yesterday, and I gave it a coat. And I think I'm gonna give it another coat um, to make sure it's got a good thickness and a good seal all the way around. I didn't paint the top, obviously. I painted only the walls and everything else. Taped up the little spigot here and the one for the fuel. So usually what I do, and this thing is heavy. What I do is I take it out, put it in the sun, let it warm up because this garage is cold. So let me take this to the garage, to the, oop. And I'm gonna put it up here on my back of my Avalanche. And let that get warmed up. And this is caliper paint, which takes temperature and protects it. So I usually lay it down like that so it has a lot of sun. Let that warm up because the garage is cold. Everything in the garage is cold. And then the next project I'm gonna do, I went and picked up my gaff. I went to the fishing show, Dart Hall, I think it's called, and bought what do you call it? A spreader for tuna. And I bought a Mad Max and some swivels. I just wanted to see what was there. I always enjoy that show. And a friend of mine went with me and my woman. And so then I said, I looked at the gaffs that they have for sale, and the gaffs were really nice. They pretty much what I have here. It's a bamboo cane, and they were wrapped in rope like I have it, but I did this myself. A friend of mine gave me this. It was just a cane like that. So I had this, I went and bought this colored cord, and I glued it up and down. And what I'm gonna do now is that I got the idea from the show, because it already has some a finished varnish underneath, but not the cord. And I'm gonna varnish it, not varnish. This is glaze coating. It's real thick, and it's a 2-part mix. So I mixed it. I'm gonna mix it in this little bowl, and apply it with this 99-cent store cheap brush. Do that. I got some other brushes, but the thing is that the instructions say that you have to do this in around 70, 71 temperature. The garage feels like a 65. It's going to warm up today, so I can't start it over here. Actually, it says 60 on the. Let me see the neat tip. Got another one here. It's not even 60, it's 58. Jesus Christ. Yeah, the garage is cold. So I'm going to have to do it outside. So I'm going to set up the trash cans, put them in the sun, put this across, and prepare the mixture and do that. Then there is another issue, another acontecimiento. All right, I've been calling my cabinet maker. Have you started on the cabinet? No, not yet. Have you started on the cabinet? You know, every 2 weeks. Well, it's been a month and a half. The guy hasn't even bought the material. And he called me the other day. He said, "Hey, I got a job for you. I have this. I need a workshop drawings." And I said, "Well, all right. I drove all the way there. It's an hour drive with traffic. And I get there and I look at the plans. The plans are not detailed the way they're supposed to be. You're actually going to have to go with a scale and see if the scale's going to match. And then, he wanted me to draw some cabinets for this commercial kitchen. And it didn't have enough information for me to go on. It didn't give me the size of the room, didn't give me the size of it didn't tell me if they wanted drawers, if they wanted doors, nothing. And then this guy is begging because when I got to the shop, the owner wasn't there, only the workers. I sat in the office for about 15 minutes looking at the plans, and I said, this is going to take a lot of time to figure this thing out. And then I got pissed that the guy didn't buy the material, at least starting on my cabinet that I've been asking him to do. And I said, look, I need this thing done by April. Well, it's already April. Nothing. I got pissed. I went to lunch, and I was thinking about it. I said, I made such a long trip. I got nothing done. I'm not going to do this job for him. He's pleading on the phone with me. And I said, you know what? Forget it. I'll make the cabinet. So I went back to the shop, and I picked up my bag full of boxes that I left there so he can have the measurements of what he needed to do, and he didn't do diddly crap, So that's what he gets. He's giving me the runaround. Look, I gave him all the hinges and the door locks and everything else. He's giving me the runaround, and he expects me to jump on these plans now because he needs it. So now he's in a hurry. And I said, no, you know what? Payback time. You didn't do for me, I'm not doing for you. Get somebody else. Because I'm not a vindictive person. I'm very helpful and very, but when you're doing me wrong and lying to me, I'm getting it tomorrow. I'm getting it tomorrow. And then I call a week. I'm not calling every day. I call about a week. I'll get it next Friday, and this is Wednesday. Okay, so thumbs up. Very good. He's gonna get it. He's gonna start it. And then another thing that, it's none of my business. That's the way he does things. We used to have, with my dad, we used to have a cabinet shop. I never seen a shop so messy. I never seen the office so dusty with sawdust everywhere. It's on the seats, it's on the table, it's on paper, it's on the refrigerator, it's everywhere. And I said, dude, this is the way you work? He's a good cabinet maker. He made my kitchen cabinets, but man, the mess. They don't sweep the floors. Everything is covered with dust. And I said, get your shit together. Spend a day, have a guy. You don't have to stop production, but have a guy take a day off and clean the place up. I'm surprised that the fire department didn't show there and shut him down, because it's ridiculous how dirty that place and disorganized. So anyways, I'm going to end up doing the cabinet. So now it's another thing for me to do. It's another project, And then on top of that, I have another project that I started to work on. Is these butcher blocks. I already cut them. I'm going to put them out there in the sun. I'm going to set up my donkeys. And I'm going to give them the same latex. That's the reason I bought it. And I say, okay, I'm going to do the latex. So the glaze. So I'm going to do the gaff. And I'm going to do these butcher blocks that I already cut. There's a cut right there. Because I'm going to do something for my barbecue. So there's another project to work on. And this guy didn't get anything done with my cabinet. I'm real pissed about that, because I have a lot of gear to store. I bought these spreaders, and I have the buckets. They're already here, and I got the boxes full of jigs, and I need a place to set up a table so people can work on the hooks. And if I want to set up something, I have a place to set it. not on the floor of the boat. You know, that's why I designed that cabinet, and this guy didn't do crap, didn't even buy the material to at least say, I have it here. He says, oh, I'll get it done in one day. Yeah, in one day. It's been a month, almost 2 months now. Forget it. I'll do it myself, and I'll see how good I'm gonna do it, because I don't have a perfect table. I'm gonna have to buy a sheet of plywood and then try to steer that thing straight. You know, I don't know. See if I could do a MacGyver, set up some sort of a guide or something to make a straight cut. All right, guys, I want to let you go. I gotta start working on something here. Okay, here's the first coat, and this is gonna be for a small bar. I'll show it when it's done. And here's the first coat on the gaff. Being that this rope wasn't sealed, it's soaking it up. Which is good. Let it sink in. In a few minutes, I'll flip it around and give it the underside. This one here, there's not that much I can do. I was reading the instruction. It said if you have bubbles, you get a torch or a hair dryer or something, and you heat up the bubbles. But I don't think I'm gonna go through that extreme. It's not a indoor furniture. And these are the little projects that keep me busy and falling behind others, because they keep adding. And now I got the news today that one of the properties, one of the light switches went bad and need to go and replace it. So there's another couple hours of my time driving all the way down there and getting it done. Okay, so let's see how the things are going. Projects. Okay, the carburetor's painted and it's drying up very nicely. Very nice. So it's got 3 coats. That should last for a while. Then I shimmied the horse, and this is level somewhat. And I turned this one upside, flipped it, gave it another coat. It looks like it needs more, and I gotta do it before it dries. So let me grab this real quick. This thing has some bubbles I think I saw here. Just gonna brush that out of the way. There's got a little crap here. What the hell is that? Well, the problem of doing this outside is that you are going to have some stuff falling in from the wind. The breeze is always carrying stuff. Some bird might take a crap on it. Well, this thing is soaking it up really good. I'm gonna have to do this again tomorrow. I'm gonna let it dry for 24 hours. I'm not doing the pole anymore. I'm just gonna do the wrap. Let that sink in there. All right, that's good to go. Now I gotta clean this cheap brush, put the carburetor in the car. Then later, well, I'm thinking that if little crap is falling on that wood, that glaze is gonna be full of junk by the end of the day. I'm gonna have to bring it in here and put it on the cabinet and let it dry inside. So that's what I'll do now before the wind kicks in around 2:30 or 3. And then I'll go to Home Depot and see what the price of plywood is. And I don't know if they have marine plywood. If they do, it's gonna be very expensive. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it realistic. All right, I'll see you on the next one. I gotta move things around and get going later. Okay, guys. So I gave it a touch up on the thin side, and no, actually, this is the thick side. Meaning that it has more material on one side than the other. And then I took off the door of the cooler that I'm going to convert into a bar, and I sanded it because it was kind of like a red red stain, and I sanded it and I kind of roughed it up and leave some of the stain in, so it kind of gives it a rugged look like the other ones. And I gave it a coat. I see some little valleys here. I'm gonna have to prepare a little bit more material and fill those gaps, because the wood is not even like the butcher block. Butcher block is super straight. And then I'm gonna let it dry for the rest of the day. And then I decided that on the cooler, which is it's just a cooler with 4 legs, I'm not gonna redo the whole thing. I'm gonna do the legs. I'm gonna rough up the legs a little bit, and I got about a half a bottle of each glaze and hardener, and I'll attach it and I apply it to the legs, and let's see how that looks. And then it'll be finished. I'll have to put it together too. All right. Later when it's all put together. Bye.